What's poppin', people? It's Dante, currently walking around Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. Thinking today about why the Ricoh GR3 and the Ricoh GR3x is the killer combo for street photography. So dual wielding the Ricoh GR3 and the Ricoh GR3x has been interesting on this trip so far. It's day 5 and I'm starting to experiment and push myself to use the Ricohs in a very interesting way. So essentially with the Ricoh GR3x, I have the crop button, and on the Ricoh GR3, the crop button set to the video button on the side of the camera. And so I was just fishing around and even walking around and making snapshots with the 71mm crop function as something that's just like calling me to photograph is the faces of the people, and like really getting these like close-up kind of like detail shots of facial expressions of, you know, the salary man with the suit and different couples, and try to make relationships between people in a very close proximity using the compression of the 71mm crop mode in the Ricoh GR3x to then complement the more layered scenes and things that I capture with the wider focal lengths, maybe on the 40 or the 28. It's just really intriguing to have the ability to go super close up and tight and then zoom out and shoot wide. You know, even just the 40 and the 28, right? I'm going for the extreme with the crop feature in the camera because personally I shoot with the small JPEG high contrast black and white, and I crank the grit, the grain, and everything to the max. So I really don't care about the clarity or the like quality, whatever you want to call it, with the photographs. I like the grainy, gritty sort of aesthetics of the built-in crop feature. And so, yeah, basically going against my little like rule book of like using one camera, one lens, I guess, but I do alternate back and forth. I don't actually like stay, like I'm not like like I'm using only the Ricoh GR3 now, and then if there's like a scene that I want to work with the GR3x, then I'll put this camera in my pocket and just quickly go to the next drop and shoot from there. And it's just really nice to like kind of conceal the Ricoh GR3x under like a layer. Maybe you have like a cargo shirt, or I have this like light jacket for the fall weather, and then keep the Ricoh GR3 on the wrist strap, or just put in your pocket and alternate and sort of go back and forth between the two. It kind of helps as well with this sort of like flow state in a way, because sometimes you're shooting the same thing over and over again and you sort of get burnt out from it, and then there is something to be said about the novelty of switching to a different focal length mid session. Yeah, trying to, you know, like I'm making mistakes, right? Like I'm making mistakes, I'm doing things weirdly. Like I think I accidentally went to the 71mm crop mode yesterday and I started taking pictures in it, and I was like, oh shit, I'm accidentally in crop mode, right? And then I just kept playing with it and pushing with it, and I thought that was kind of interesting, and so I started to do it today intentionally. Even shooting at night, noticing how I'm getting slow shutter speeds automatically using the AV mode, and seeing the motion blur was an accident, but now I'm using that sort of accident and these mistakes that I'm learning through experimenting and pushing myself creatively by using both of these different cameras simultaneously to then hopefully create more compelling street photography that is a bit different, a bit more unique. Something that I'm trying to do and push is really break through and create in this flow state where I'm not really too attached to the outcome. I'm trying to basically just make quick sketches. I'm trying to sort of just figure things out as I go. And, you know, I think that by making mistakes and doing something imperfectly or breaking the rules that you sort of traditionally subscribe to and experiment, you can have more creative potential and maybe create something radically new. And that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, yeah, I think ultimately the beauty of this camera system is its compact nature and its portability, right? So like simply turn the camera off, take it off the wrist strap, throw it in the pocket, and you wouldn't even know I have 2 cameras on me right now, right? It's pretty minimal, lightweight setup, and it's just really great for that reason. So then I can just go boom, swap back, and then on I go. Yeah, so far so good in Shinjuku. I really enjoy shooting around the Shinjuku station and basically just following the light, you know, following the people, following the light. You know, I think with street photography, you kind of just want to go where the action is, go where the people are. I mean, look at this endless flow of traffic I have to work with. I mean, it's really, it's really like fish in a barrel in some of these locations, which, you know, I'm actually enjoying, and yeah, just pushing myself to shoot in these particular locations where I can expect chaos. Yeah, just some quick thoughts on the Ricoh GR3 and 3X. Dual wielding seems to be really nice for these kind of trips where you have a shorter time period to work in a certain location. You know, when I'm back home in Philly, I don't ever dual wield my cameras. You know what I mean? Like when I'm shooting in the same place every single day, I just throw one in the pocket and I either use the one or the other. But on a trip like this, I think it's good to bring both out with you into the streets and then undulate between the two simultaneously and try to push yourself creatively when you're in a new location. That way, when you come home and you look at your photos, you have a good variety of shots. Something I'm trying to do more is to sort of push myself to photograph more variety. So the 3X is really good for close-ups, for details. I mean, even doing layering kind of photos, but I find that the use of the GR3X lends itself best for even just doing like simple architecture shots, stuff like that, capturing more details, things of this nature. Whereas the Ricoh GR3 with the wider 28mm focal length can be really nice for these kind of shots where you have more layers from the foreground, middle ground, background. I still find that that focal length suits itself best for those kind of situations, just due to the fact that you can include more within the frame, right? And so yeah, a lot of the photos I've been making have been sort of sparking my curiosity because I'm undulating between the two different focal lengths, sort of just mixing stuff up and trying what I can, trying something new. Yeah, check out the chaos of this street here. It's wild. I'm using the Ricohs with the AV mode. I put it to just f16 right now with snap focus, either 2 meters or 1 meter on the other one, or yeah, basically snap focus 2 meters, f16. It's pretty easy. Yeah, pretty much everything's in focus. You just have to point and shoot. And the beauty with shooting this way and shooting with these two different cameras, right, with the 3X and just Ricoh generally, is the fact that you can kind of just throw the camera around, loosely photograph, not really take it so seriously, and then kind of surprise yourself with the photos you make. You know, when I'm looking at life, like I'm not really, you know, not really looking for anything specific. Like, yes, like interesting faces, light, gestures, these things are obvious triggers in street photography. But really what I look for is the unpredictability and the spontaneity to reveal itself in the frames I make through simply entering the flow state of making more pictures and clicking that damn shutter. Meaning, the more that you walk, the more that you see. The more that you see, the more that you photograph. And the more that you photograph, the more curious you become, fulfilling that goal within itself of increasing your curiosity, allowing the spontaneity reveal itself in the frames you make, allowing these sort of art of, you know, the art of surprise, the art of the unknown to sort of reveal itself in the frames, you know, because a lot of the times when you're snapshotting and you're using this camera system and you're photographing loosely and you're using the LCD screen, you're not really controlling as much as you think, right? Because with a viewfinder style camera, you're looking directly through the lens, you're looking directly through the window. And with that sort of approach to photography, it's a little bit more rigid, and I think sometimes a photographer will take the compositions they make more seriously, whereas the LCD screen on the Ricoh GR camera system is beautiful for this kind of approach of photographing loosely, embracing spontaneity, and then having some of these random things and different gestures and unknown aspects within the frame reveal itself through the mistakes that you make, which I think become beautiful. And so I'm just learning today on the streets and yeah, pretty much sharing what I learned along my journey. I think it's nice to change, to evolve, to transform, because that to me is where the beauty of the photography journey is. It's in that sort of state of becoming, that spirit of change where you start to find joy in your process. And so yeah, figured I share this new idea using the crop mode, using the sort of Ricoh GR3X and the GR3 simultaneously, isolating subjects' faces. Maybe I can show you on the back of my LCD screen some of these examples. Maybe they'll come up on the screen here. You can see, maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. But yeah, I'm getting these like very close croppings of faces. Like, look at that one. That one's great. Which I find to just be radically different, radically new from anything I've ever done before. And this kind of approach and this process kind of was born from a mistake that I made yesterday, and now learning from that mistake and adapting by actually putting it into practice intentionally is kind of an interesting way to do this thing with street photography. So yeah, Ricoh GR3, Ricoh GR3X, absolute joy to use simultaneously, dual wielding on the streets of Tokyo. Pretty much the best setup for this kind of city where you're working in chaotic environments with lots of people, lots of action. I went to cross the street, but there's not enough time. The Ravens. Yeah, so some candid thoughts on the Ricohs. Yeah. Ricoh Jihadist. The Ricoh Jihadist goes Tokyo, baby. Yeah.